All of my life, I've been in search for something. Unknowingly, I was looking for more meaning to my existence. Life for me has been no fairy tale. This, however, did not keep me from the feeling that there was something more out there. Growing up, love was not something I felt. The nurture and protection I craved was absent. I've made a lot of choices because of this that I sometimes still blame myself for. The fact of the matter is that for a long time, I was moving like someone who had been neglected in their childhood. I always felt like the outcast in my own home. And then I went into a world where I was once again picked on for my differences. It's a harsh reality to face the fact that 99% of my life has been hell. I think to some people they could never tell because I've always exuded this kind of bright light, always comforting others and making the best out of bad situations. But deep down, there has always been this painful void that I felt stemming from abuse, betrayal, and heartbreak. For so long, this kept me in a very dark space, leading me to run the opposite direction, far away from the true desire that lights my soul on fire. When I was a little boy, I could never stop singing. Whenever I did my solos in church, there was this divine presence that came over me that I couldn't fully articulate. However, as I grew up, the adversity I faced in my home life and my social life led me to isolate this gift. I was afraid to embrace this passion that I loved because I was always punished in some way for my authenticity and self-expression. So naturally, to avoid conflict and tension, I hid parts of myself that I should have loved. In school, I realized just how much I went along with the crowd, finding myself in spaces and relationships that resembled what home was like. I've experienced some regret as I came to this realization because there were so many opportunities I deep down wanted to take. Had my gifts been nurtured and appreciated, I wouldn't have felt this need to dim my light so I could do what was necessary to survive in a community that does not embrace one's own uniqueness. So behind closed doors was the only time I felt safe enough to sing my heart out. I've been writing songs actually since I was in elementary school. There was this rush that I felt creating music early on. I became so captivated by the feeling that connected me to it, but then the clouds would come blocking the sun because I began to remember all that my environment taught me to believe, which was that I am not good enough. This insecurity has always held me back. I grew up surrounded by greed and envy that was masked as love so that I would never awaken to where this darkness in me was coming from. But once I began my spiritual journey last year, I realized the truth, that this darkness I was feeling came from a source outside of myself. Once this became clearer over time, I realized I had to move in order to save my soul from the corruption it faced. So I took that first step, that first leap into the unknown, and have faith that I will be guided to a better life. The more time I spent away from the places and the spaces that created my trauma, the more this truth became apparent. Something better is on the horizon. Once I began to detach from the past, a path was revealed with each step I took towards a new beginning. A path full of love, passion, and hope. Something that was missing all my life. The sky became clearer and I had an epiphany that with the love of God, I actually have the power to save myself. If I have to go through the stormy waters to get to the other side, then count me in. The thing about going through a past full of rejection, neglect, and abuse is you realize nothing can get much worse than that. So if it can't get worse, then the only alternative is it has to get better. The more I pushed forward and went within to face the truth of my pain, the layers of darkness continued to shed piece by piece by piece. I started to recognize that I have a gift, a God-given blessing. And looking at it this way, I had to now release my fears and use it. After all, it was given to me for that reason. The more I understood this fact, the more passionate I became towards doing what I loved, not what made me the most money or got me the most attention. My reality shifted once I let go of the illusion that I am not worthy enough to reap the rewards that would come from me pursuing what I love the most. Elevation didn't start off as a project. It started off with me dipping my toe in the water and then having the confidence that maybe, just maybe, someone would actually like it. It's been a long road, a hard road, and there is so much more to overcome. I am just grateful to recognize that my talent is more than enough to help me cultivate the life that God has promised me, no matter who tried to make me feel like it wasn't.